Hey everyone, this is Josh from Muscle Shirt Productions, and the final film in the Scream franchise I'm going to review is the original Scream from 1996. And while I may not have enough time to talk about every little detail of Scream, I'm going to do my best to cover as much as I can. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and get into it. Honestly, what else can I say about this movie that hasn't already been said? That it's based on a real life serial killer, that caller ID purchases skyrocketed after this movie came out, that it rejuvenated the slasher genre in the 90s? Well, mostly everybody already knows that. This is pretty much a perfect movie, in my opinion, and delivers on everything it was set out to do. But before I get into everything that's good with this movie, I'm just going to mention my one and only nitpick with the whole film. It always bugged me how Ghostface was stalking Sidney and Tatum in the store while he was in full costume. But the scene is only like a second long and doesn't ruin the movie for me. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into all the things that are perfect with Scream. The opening scene is iconic. The phone call, the stalking, the suspense, the violence, everything about it is scary. Now, I will say that at the time this movie came out, I was only 11 years old, and I didn't see the movie until I was about 12 or 13. I didn't understand the nuance this movie was doing with its meta humor and references, or killing off a celebrity early on like Psycho did. But with that being said, this movie still terrified me, and now being an adult makes me appreciate this movie even more. I also love the use of technology in this film. Everything from the cordless phones and cell phones to the voice changer and even using the computer to call 911 and the camera that Gale sets up at the party, it all fit with the times perfectly. And even though people may see this as outdated, I still think it holds up and puts this movie in its own little time capsule of simpler times that younger generations can look back on and see what technology was like back then. Marco Beltrami's score also fits well with this movie, and I like the use of his industrial rhythm mixed in with choir music. The soundtrack is also very memorable and has the best songs from any other movie in the franchise. The kills in this movie are also some of the best in the franchise. The gory kills of Casey and Steve in the beginning set the tone perfectly for the movie. The creative kills of Tatum in the garage and the TV being dropped on Stu's head also help bring some creativity that helps separate this movie from others in the franchise that just use the hunting knife and stabs. I also like the setting of Woodsboro, and I think the movie uses the trope of the small town with an unknown killer very well. Stu's house was also a very memorable part of the movie. The layout and size of the house was creepy, and the country landscape behind Stu's house was also very beautiful and nice to look at. The characters in this movie are also very likable, and all of the actors play their parts very well. I can honestly say that Sydney Prescott is my favorite final girl. She is strong, persistent, and courageous. Randy is very funny, and I always related to him because he was like me growing up. Tatum was also entertaining to watch, and she played the best friend role very well, and you could tell that she was always supportive of Sydney. Dewey was innocent and charming, and just an all around good guy, and even though Gail was always about the story first and came off as tough, you can tell that she ended up liking Dewey at the end and wasn't afraid to stand up to the killers. The way the story was written did a good job of making me doubt myself about Billy being the killer, and Matthew Lillard's portrayal of Stu was also very good, because his funny and laid back take on the character made it all the more shocking when it was revealed that he was one of the killers. The movie script also did a good job with the whodunit trope, and the acting in this movie just helps add to that motif. The movie also has its funny moments, and many of the actors' deliveries added to that humor. I think it's safe to say that the killer reveals and their motives in this movie are the best in the entire franchise, and that no other ending can compare to the original. The fact that there was not one, but two killers was completely unexpected at the time, because all of the horror movies back then were only known to have one killer. On a side note, this movie also introduced me to the Halloween franchise, because when I was younger, it was really only about Freddy, Jason, and Chucky. The original Scream is a perfect example of lightning in a bottle. When you have the actors doing their part perfectly in front of the camera, and the trifecta of Kevin Williamson's writing, Margot Beltrami's music, and Wes Craven's direction behind the scenes, what you get is a movie like Scream that has forever left its impact in cinema and pop culture. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, this is Josh from Absurd Productions.